बच्चों नेक्स्ट टॉपिक है आपका रिजर्व। लाइफ इंश्योरेंस कंपनी जो है कुछ रिजर्व्स रखती है, तो देखिए क्या है वो। अ लाइफ इंश्योरेंस रिजर्व शुड नॉट बी कंफ्यूज्ड विद द रिजर्व ऑफ अ बिजनेस enterprises. In a commercial enterprises, reserve is a provision made out the profit for the year, but in life insurance reserve is a liability which the insurer is required to meet as and when it arises, and therefore much emphasis is given on the accumulation of the reserve. Greater the reserve, the more is the solvency of the insurer. The premium collected from the policyholder constitute an important source of fund for life insurance company. The main reserve of a life insurance company life insurance company is the policy reserve, which measures the amount of assets of the insurance company. This amount, together with premium to be paid by the policy holder and the interest earned thereon, must be sufficient to meet all the liability regarding payment of claim, and when they fall due under the policies which have been issued. Reserve therefore are fund which are kept aside by an insurance company for meeting its obligations in life insurance. Reserve represents the insurance company's liability towards all policyholder, and this can only be used for meeting claim on insurance policy. बच्चों नेक्स्ट इसी में देखिए, अ लाइफ इंश्योरेंस रिजर्व कैन बी डिफाइन एज अ फंड, ओके, which together with the premium to be received in future and the interest to be earned will be sufficient to pay the future claim. A reserve origin originates from the excess of premium receipts over the payment of claims. The premium receipts more than the payments in the beginning of the year and less in the later years. Okay, this excess is acclimated at the assumed rate of interest, and the reserve goes on increasing. नेक्स्ट बच्चों इसी में एक लाइन आपका छूट रहा है। नेक्स्ट है इसी में नीड ऑफ रिजर्व। क्यों आवश्यकता पड़ती है रिजर्व की? द रिजर्व इज नीड फॉर द फॉलोइंग पर्पस: टू मीट द क्लेम. First, to meet the claim, the main responsibility of the insurer is to meet the claim as and when they arises. ठीक है, the insurer will be at case if the reserve are sufficient to cover the payments. More funds, more solvency. Therefore, insurer must have sufficient fund to meet the claim. That is the reason why reserve is essential. second है to give benefits to the policy holder as per provisions of the Insurance Act 1938. 95% of the surplus is to be distributed among the policy holder by way of bonus. The more the reserve, the more benefit to the policy holder. After all, it belongs to them. Third है to build up nation's economy. The fund or reserve so accumulated helps not only to the insurer or policy holders, but it is also helpful in the economic development of the country. The fund is invested in various social schemes for upliftment of the weaker section of the society. नेक्स्ट है बच्चों इसमें एक मिनट नेक्स्ट source are next source of reserve factors influencing amount of reserve. The main source from which reserve is accumulated is premium से होता है. There are various method of charging premium. They are label premium plan, natural premium plan, assessment premium plan. Under the above, in the last two method, no reserve is built up as the premium is charged as and when claim arises. Therefore, the label premium plan is the only method where reserve can be built up. Therefore, we sell. Discuss this method. Only the following are factors affecting the amount of reserve. पहला है लेवल प्रीमियम. Under the level premium plan system, the premium remains the same throughout the policy period, and the same amount is paid every year. The level premium is greater than the actual cost of insurance because in the early year there will be very few claims. As the assured age increases, the risk of death also increases. Therefore, in the latter year, the level premium falls short of the actual cost. Thus, the portion of the premium received in excess of the actual cost of insurance in the early year can be accumulated as reserve, which makes the gap complete when the premium may fall short in later year. Another source of reserve, we know that the fund so accumulated is not kept ideal but in invested in securities yielding interest. Therefore, while calculating the premium, the insurer has also to take this factor is in consideration. The assumed rate of interest affecting the amount of reserve. uh, a lower interest rate results in rising the rate of premium, while a higher rate result is lowering the rate of premium. Therefore, where is the assumed interest rate is low, the difference between premium and the cost of insurance is high. But when the assumed interest rate is high, the difference between premium and the cost of insurer is low. Therefore, the interest factor is very important in the determining the amount of reserve. ठीक है बच्चों. नेक्स्ट है काइंड ऑफ पॉलिसी. Kind of policy. The kind of policy issued by the insurance company also affected the amount of reserve. If there is a certainty about the payment of policy proceeds as in case of an endowment policy, the reserve will be higher. Only on the other hand, if there is no certainty about the payment of policy amount, for example, it means it may or may not be paid, as in case of term insurance, the reserve will be lower. नेक्स्ट है बच्चों इसी में duration of policy. फोर्थ पॉइंट है ड्यूरेशन ऑफ पॉलिसी. देखिए ड्यूरेशन ऑफ पॉलिसी क्या होती है. The amount of reserve increases with the duration of policy. For example, longer the period for which a policy has been in force, there are accumulation of excess premium. Interest to is earned thereupon by investing such premiums received in different types of securities. The longer the investment in securities, the greater will be realization of interest from them. Okay. Hence there is a positive relationship between the duration of the policy and the amount of reserve. Greater the duration of the policy, higher will be the amount of reserve. The actual calculation of policy reserve is technical matter, and it depends upon a number of elements like the type of policy issued, the amount of policy, the age of the policy holder, the number of year for which the premiums have been paid, the mortality rate, the rate of interest and administrative expenses, etc. All these are also factor affecting the amount of reserve. Methods of calculating reserve. There are two methods of calculating reserves. First है retrospective मेथड और दूसरा है प्रोस्पेक्टिव मेथड. रिट्रोस्पेक्टिव मेथड एंड दूसरा है प्रोस्पेक्टिव मेथड. बच्चों अभी आपको दिखाते हैं कि कैसे करते हैं. Retrospective method. Under this method, the valuation is made by looking backward over the result of the past. Under this method, the accumulated value of all the net premium received up to the date of valuation is worked out assuming certain rate of interest to be earned. From this, the amount of claim is deducted. This reserve represents the net premium collected plus interest at an assumed rate less claims, death, paid. We can calculate with the help of mortality how much we have received by way of premium. On the basis of assumed interest rate, how much we can earn by way of interest, and on the basis of mortality table, we can easily calculate how much claims we are likely to pay. Since this method of valuation gives due recognition to looking backward, it is known as retrospective method. The following illustration will make it more clear. एक आपको हम बच्चों दिखा रहे हैं एक न्यूमेरिकल है. फॉर एग्जांपल, देयर आर 10 पॉलिसी होल्डर्स इंश्योर्ड फॉर रुपीज़ 1 lakh each for a period of 10 years. Net premium required to pay 10,000 per year. The assumed rate of interest 10%. तो आपको फर्स्ट नेट, अब देखिए, फर्स्ट नेट प्रीमियम ऑफ 10 पॉलिसी होल्डर्स सॉल्व किया है मैंने. देखिए, फर्स्ट ईयर नेट प्रीमियम ऑफ 10 पॉलिसी होल्डर्स एट द रेट ईच 10,000 एवरी ईच. तो कुल कितना हो जाएगा? 1,00,000 रुपये. ठीक है, 1,00,000 रुपये और एड उसमें इंटरेस्ट होगा तो 1,10,000 रुपये हो गया. अब देखिए, टोटल अमाउंट हो गया आपका 1,10,000. ठीक, लेस क्लेम पेड, तो नो कोई क्लेम नहीं आया है, तो क्लेम की प्लेस नील होगी. फिर है टर्मिनल रिजर्व, ये भी नील है, कोई क्लेम नहीं. फिर उसके बाद नेक्स्ट है सेकेंड ईयर. दूसरे ईयर में नेट प्रीमियम ऑफ 10 पॉलिसी होल्डर्स एट द रेट 10,000 ईच. तो आपका ये हो जाएगा 1 लाख. सेकेंड ईयर में 1,00,000 और एड टर्मिनल रिजर्व ऑफ लास्ट ईयर, तो पुराने वाले को भी जोड़ दिया जाएगा. इस तरीके से ये हो जाएगा 2,10,000. अब 10% इंटरेस्ट, तो 21,000 हो जाएगा. 2,10,000 का 21,000 हो जाएगा, जुड़ जाएगा इसमें. तो लेस क्लेम पेड 1 डेथ, तो 1 डेथ में आप 1,00,000 पे कर दिए. जब 1,00,000 आप पे कर देंगे तो आपका जो बचेगा वो 1,31,000 बचेगा. तो टर्मिनल रिजर्व जो हो गया वो 1,31,000 रुपये हो जाएगा. दिस प्रोसेस द कैलकुलेटिंग. अब बच्चों देखिए, ये आपको मेरा ख्याल समझ में आ गया होगा. दिस प्रोसेस ऑफ कैलकुलेटिंग द रिजर्व विल गो ऑन टिल 10th ईयर. इन द थर्ड ईयर प्रीमियम विल बी पेड ओनली 9 पॉलिसी होल्डर्स, क्योंकि अब तो 10 होगा नहीं, क्योंकि एक की डेथ हो गई, तो 9 ही पॉलिसी होल्डर्स हैं बिकॉज ऑफ 1 डेथ ड्यूरिंग द सेकेंड ईयर. फिर इसके बाद from the above illustration is clear that the calculation start with the first year. We have also to decided the rate of interest which could be easily faced from this claim paid for the second year deducted, and reserve is obtained. In the third year the premium will be received from the surviving policy holders only. It is added to the last year reserve, which is called the terminal reserve again, and add the amount of interest at an assumed rate of interest for the year claimed, for the year and claim paid deducted. The process continued until the end the policy holders are dead or the policies are matured for payment. The practice such a position never occurs. बच्चों, इसका भी एक फॉर्मूला है. देखिए क्या फॉर्मूला है. ये हो गया. फिर इसका मतलब नेक्स्ट है नेक्स्ट, reserve at the close of previous year plus premium of the current year plus interest at the assumed rate claimed for the current year is equal to reserve. फिर से देख लें, reserve at the close of previous year plus premium of the current year plus interest at the assumed rate claimed for the current year is equal to reserve. दूसरा मेथड है बच्चों प्रोस्पेक्टिव मेथड. प्रोस्पेक्टिव मेथड क्या होता है? अंडर दिस मेथड द इंश्योरेंस इज रिक्वायर्ड टू फाइंड आउट हाउ मच ही इज टू पे in future and how much premium are to be received in future. Therefore the present value of the future premiums and the present value of the future claims are calculated. Formula: reserve is equal to present value of future claims minus present value of future premium. Under this method the reserve is obtained by taking the difference between the present value of insurance and the present value of the future premium which remain to be paid. Since this method valuation gives doing recognition to future, it is known as the prospective method of calculating रिज़र्व. इट्स वेरी क्लियर. बच्चों आपको कोई दिक्कत होगी तो आप हमारे व्हाट्सएप नंबर पे कमेंट्स कीजिएगा और हम देख लेंगे, फिर उससे आपको जो भी प्रॉब्लम है आपकी हम सॉल्व कर देंगे. ओके.